Good morning, everyone from Australia. It is Bridget from the Art of Grace Publishing House, and I am here today to talk to some of the women from Prosperity Codes. So Prosperity Codes is a collaboration that was put together by Bridget Aileen Cisco from Exalted Publishing House. And I'm so pleased to be a contributor in this book myself and to be part of this collaboration. Bridget put this book together because prosperity is often misunderstood. It's often thought of to just be about money. And this book really proves that that's not the case. So I would like to welcome to join me the beautiful Mardalena, who has an astonishing story, which many of us could relate to. Thanks for joining me, Mardalena.
Thanks for having me.
Many of us could relate to a particular part of your story where you say in the book that you are surrounded by this male presence in your family. I'm not going to read the exact words because we are live on television and we don't want to talk about the anatomy on television, but it's predominant in your house and in mine too. And the animals help balance the feminine in our house as well, which your story says it does too. Mardalena, can you tell me, first of all, why is it that you decided to join Prosperity Codes?
Hello, Bridget. Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Mardalena Turpel. I'm a master intuitive massage therapist. I've been working for 23 years. And as you mentioned, I'm surrounded by men. Without saying anything, it's about the toilet and how they can't aim at it, particularly. I had all brothers growing up, and then I had all boys as a mother. I joined Prosperity Codes. It's my second book, and my first book, Lineage Speaks, had such a profound effect on my life. I'm opening up many avenues. As a massage therapist practicing for 23 years, I was kind of hiding behind the table, as it were, quietly and gently spreading my knowledge and my wisdom, one person at a time. And COVID brought about this reflective period where I wasn't able to practice my art. And I realized, that I wanted to do something more when I had a bunch of free time, which the quarantine provided a lot of us. I reevaluated my life and, I'm turned 44 and 22 this year. So kind of, I'm calling it a quarter life crisis. But yeah, I just like, what else can I do? And so I wanted to spread my story. And so after my first book, Lineage Speaks with Exalted Publishing House, when Prosperity Codes came up, I was feeling the energy, the prosperity energy that being a part of the first multi-author book brought to me. And I wanted to continue that in my life. And so I just thought it was a sign, and I immediately signed up and then delved into, to what that means to me further. And the process of writing my second chapter in Prosperity Codes really helped me evaluate what that means to me and how I have come back to prosperity and abundance time and time again in my life when presented with, various challenges, death or divorce, depression. So
I love you say that it brought you back to this. And in your chapter, you talk about the 10 things to make Mardalena a happier person. Can you talk about that 10 steps? Because you started that really young. I remember reading something to do with the cinema, and you started it way back then as a teenager, and you still continue this practice today?
Yes, ma'am. It's it's one of my earliest journaling practices, but depression runs in my family. Had a few suicides and just a few lifelong commitments to depression in my lineage, that I'm trying to break that cycle. But at a very young age, you feel the waves of that particular energy. And I have been attuned to the frequency of joy. It's just it's part of who I am. It's part of my makeup. So when I drift from that, even from a very young age, I tried to get myself back to it. And I did identify as a writer from a very young age. So when that challenge came up of being depressed as an 18-year-old in my very first job at a movie theater, I remember very clearly bringing out a piece of paper and being like, well, what can I do? Because I'm also a Capricorn. I'm very practical. So I'm like, well, what can I do? Let me write 10 things that I can do, proactively to change this. So that was as an 18-year-old.
And it started off with really small steps too, wasn't it? You named the things that you put on this, a few of the things you put on this list, and they were very simple, practical things to make you have a happier life.
It's also, yes, something I'm very grateful for, that I have allowed myself baby steps, small graces, but I had a very military father, so very strict military father. If it wasn't perfect, then it didn't exist. So as myself, self-loving, I try to give myself a little bit of grace towards that. Yeah. So my first one was like, hey, what can I do? I really liked grape juice. I really liked frozen grape juice. So one of my first things was like, hey, go and freeze some grape juice and then eat it, because that will make you happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. And, you grew up very organically, and everything you did on the farm was, created your food source, and, it's very wholesome upbringing. And just to have that grape juice as the, one of the things that you wanted to fulfill yourself with happiness, it would have been the buzz, the sugar high, I would imagine.
Yeah, the next one was Pepsi. So
So I think that my point is that you just took these baby steps to get to these things, and then later in life, these you might still have on your list of 10 things baby steps, but also have some big wonderful dreams on there as well.
Yeah, so like I said, there's this, as I worked on the list, then I gained some. It's like, okay, after you do these things, then you're going to build up some good feelings about yourself, and then you can challenge yourself to make some deeper changes, to kind of confront some more of the shadow issues that maybe I have been ignoring, or I like to say, you can't clean a kitchen and have it be cleaned, right? So we're all in the spiritual world. We all learn how to attune, but life happens. You have kids, and that's a whole new dynamic where you put their needs in front of yours, and it gets confused. So you got to reevaluate, you got to reground, reattune, you got to clean the kitchen again, and it's okay.
Yeah. And I think that that's important to say to people. I do want to say, jump on over to Amazon. When I was looking down, I was actually logging on to Amazon. Jump on over. You can grab a copy of Prosperity Codes over there. And over there, we do have a few people watching. And please excuse me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Is it Morling? Thank you for joining us. And
it's Meowling. Yeah,
Meowling. She used to love Pepsi too. So that's awesome. And Donna says she loves us ladies. Thank you, Donna. We do have people watching on Facebook, but if you can jump on over to Amazon, you can grab a copy of the book. Either the Kindle or the paperback is available through Amazon, and you can watch the show through there and comment through there. It does help us to get further reach and to allow the stories to reach those who need to hear them. Mardalena, what would be your biggest tip for somebody who is struggling with their life right now and is looking for more prosperity?
Well, the tip that I would give anyone else is what I would give myself, which is to self-love, to forgive first. Like, it's okay wherever you are, whatever wherever you are, whatever you've allowed to happen or you've not allowed to happen, or the mistakes you made, the choices you made, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Take a deep breath and forgive yourself. And then, just take baby steps, start over. Never give up on yourself. That's why I have 5 boys. And as a mother, you think about all these things. I want them as adults to be like my mom always said. So I choose a few things throughout the years. And my oldest is about to turn 15, so they've mutated. But one of the things that I always say is we never give up. Never give up on yourself. Yeah. Prosperity is here always. It's right here. You just have to feel it.
Yeah. That was my next question for you. We all did a reel where we answered the end of a statement, prosperity is. Can you share with us what your statement was for prosperity is?
I misunderstood the assignment for the reel. In my head, I thought everyone was going to list one thing instead of like a definition, because she's like, make it 4 seconds or whatever. So I was like, I thought it was going to be a list of different things that prosperity was. So I listed one thing, but what I listed was freedom of time, which I still really believe in.
Yeah.
You have to build from there. But if you have the freedom of time, so it's something a lot of people don't have, which is just a reality. I mean, single moms in general, parents, people. And it is a mindset. You can give yourself the freedom of time, no matter where you feel you are financially or emotionally in debt. Wherever you feel you have debt, you can work through that and give yourself the freedom of time. But I recommend you reach out to some of our wonderful coaches in the book, because I touch butts for a living.
That's hilarious. Touch butts for a living. I do want to read just a short paragraph from your chapter. I give our boys the same gifts I give myself: unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. They can trust me to never give up on them or let them give up on themselves. I took about 4 years of offering this as consistently as I could to earn the trust of my bonus boys, my bonus sons. When I want any of our boys to do something they don't want to do, like clean their room, I feel you. Exercise or eat broccoli, there's a base of mutual respect and love running with an undercurrent of encouragement and understanding behind the request and their response. They know that I love them and want them to be healthy, even if it tastes icky or feels uncomfortable in the moment. Recreating the 10 things to do for a happy Mardalena dawn list whenever I need to keeps my heart, my intentions, and my energetic frequencies attuned to health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. I think I wanted to read that because I think that people think that prosperity is linked to money always. They always see prosperity as linked to money and things, material things. And you're talking so basically there about, showing that unconditional love, supporting them through making the right choices and why you're doing it, and that underlying feeling of, there's that unconditional respect, mutual respect for one another. And I think that it's something that so many people could benefit from in their day-to-day lives, even for themselves, because a lot of people make bad choices. Bridget confessing here, saying, I just had coffee this morning and I'm actually allergic to, coffee. So it's a ridiculous thing for me to have. So, we make these choices because we gain this disrespect for ourselves and don't listen to our higher self or listen to our mum, who does know best. It's not until you grow up that you actually understand that everything she was doing was for your better good. And now we're doing the same thing for our children. And that brings about prosperity in your household, doesn't it?
It does. Thank you. It means so much that you chose that particular section. I almost didn't include that section. So the fact that
really?
touched you.
Yeah, well, being in a household full of boys and they're going through their teenage years, and I've always struggled with motherhood. Your chapter really spoke to me, and it's something that I didn't realize. That I am doing that, and I am encouraging them to exercise and things like that. And at 15, all you want to do is hang out with your girlfriend and your friends. You don't want to talk to your mother, and she doesn't know anything. And it's really hard to keep going with your positive attitude. This is butting you up against the head every single day. And, to read that really did lift my spirits, because I thought, it can be that simple to have prosperity in your life, to have that peace in your family, and to have that mutual respect in your family. And, it comes and goes in waves when they're going through they're under construction because all of their things are happening to them, but that prosperity is still there because you have those underlying values and those underlying intentions. So it was really important to me to read that part out.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm glad that you put it in. Can you tell us what's the next step for Mardalena Dawn? Where do you go to from here?
Yes, well, I continue to practice my massage in San Ramon, California, and I've signed up to do another multi-author book, Divinity Speaks. So I'm really excited about what that's going to bring out. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to write for it. I know it's going to be an exploration of my massage, like my massage journey and how it speaks through me, but I haven't found the words yet. My husband and I started doing a podcast for the first book I did, Lineage Speaks, where each woman reads their chapter, and we just did it as a passion project, and it was really very powerful. So we are working with other multi-author books to turn their books into podcasts and audio books, which is really neat because in the multi-author book world, there's not a lot of the audio books available. So we're trying to make that into a cost-effective way to bring the ladies, we're all sharing our stories on paper and putting it out into the world, and it raises a vibration. But when we actually use our voices to speak our words that we wrote, it not only deepens the experience for us as writers, but it deepens the experience for the audience to listen to the words as the author intended them with their emotions. So we both have our careers, so it's kind of just like a passion project that we're doing on the side, but it's ignited a fire within us, just kind of adding extra abundance and prosperity to our lives.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. We do have Tom over on Amazon Live, and everybody can jump on over to Amazon Live and grab their book, Prosperity Codes. And Tom has asked a question. He says, what exercises do you practice to be prosperous and find that freedom of time?
Pardon me. As I cough, I'm about to say I'm a huge proponent of breath work. I do breath work and stretching. Mostly my job as a massage therapist is very physical, so I don't do any go to the gym or anything, but I do breath work and Kundalini yoga.
Beautiful. I love it. And each person is going to have their own practices, and you find something that fits for you. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, Mardalena, it's been beautiful talking to you. Thank you so much for your time today. I will allow people to contact you. If you can drop your contact details into the MyTimeTV Facebook group, and to the Bridget Holder publisher author group, and people can contact you that way. And if you are able to, jump on over to Amazon Live and let those who are over there know how they can contact you as well. Thank you so much for being with us, Mardalena Dawn.
Thank you, Bridget. This was so much fun. Have a lovely morning.
I will. Thank you so much. So our next guest is a beautiful woman, and I just want to read a little bit from her bio. Lisa Lorna Blair combines her love of law of attraction, gratitude, and abundance with her passion for health, wellness, and conscious living. A former journalist, editor, radio broadcaster, and PR manager, she now spends her days inspiring others as a manifestation muse, gratitude goddess, financially free female, conscious online entrepreneur, coach, mentor, author, queen of positivity and high vibes. I feel like high-fiving her already. So, Lisa, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much, Bridget.
It's great to have you.
Here I am. Thank you.
Here you are. Lisa, you have a quote in your chapter that says, "Our job is to focus on the what and the now, while the universe takes care of the when and the how." I love that.
Mm.
It is really, you know, I really implore people to grab the book. I've got this one, note mark. Grab your book because you need to read Lisa's chapter. It is a really great step into her world and being able to, you know, like you called yourself the queen, your bio says, the queen of manifestation. And I think that that is so true. From reading your chapter, it really does come through that that is what you're going to get if they work with you. But just, can you expand on that quote?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's come through a lot when I've worked with people when they're manifesting. They get so hung up on how to make manifesting happen and how to bring things into their world. And I, you know, constantly keep bringing them back to, that's not your job. That is not your job. And, you know, I learned this the hard way. So I thought I can now pay this forward by teaching others. And so I turned this into this rhyme so it's easy to remember, and hence why those words are really specific to it. So our job is to focus on the what and the now and allow the universe, source, spirit, God, creator, whatever word you want to insert that feels comfortable and aligned for you. Allow spirit, I say creator, allow creator to handle the when and the how, because those two things are often going to be out of our control. So if we just let go and allow, it's transformational. If we just focus on what it is we're wanting to manifest, what it is we want to bring into our lives, our world, what is going to bring joy and happiness to us and those that we love, focus on what, and then focus on the now. And by the now, I mean be present, be in the now, practice your daily gratitude, focus, live your life in the moment, stop living in the past or the future, just be in the now. And if we focus on those two things, the when and the how will just magnetize towards us. We just have to trust the process.
Yeah. I'm 100% behind you on this. You just touched on something that I do daily, which is gratitude practice. And people say, well, how do you have time to fit in what you want to do? And I said, well, I'm no saint. Like, I don't do it every single day. There are some days that the morning doesn't go the way I would think, and I don't do it. But what I found is I always have time in the shower.
Yeah.
So I practice gratitude in the shower. So there's something that I never don't do is I never not have a shower in the morning, and so I never not miss my gratitude practice.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's as simple as that, finding a space where it fits for you. I'm by myself in the shower. It's not much you can think about in the shower. So,
yeah, exactly.
it's like you're on repeat when you're doing the shower. So, you know, you can do your gratitude practice anywhere, but I do mine in the shower. So something so simple can make a profound difference on your life.
Totally. And I love that, because you're tying it to a habit that's already embedded anyway. Like you say, you're going to shower daily. So it's happening anyway. Why not make use of the time?
Yeah, exactly. I just want to give a shout out over on Amazon Live. We do have Vicky has joined us over there. Hello, Vicky. Thanks for joining us. And Adair is over there talking to people as well. Adair is our beautiful producer from mytimetv.live. Go and give her a follow over there and grab a copy of your book. And Vicky says, Lisa, so powerful and clear. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Vicky.
If you are on Facebook, do give us a shout out and say hello, or pop on over to Amazon and you can actually purchase a copy of the book and read Lisa's story along with Mardalena Dawn's and mine. Can you tell me, what was this process like for you, Lisa?
Oh, wow. It's just that whole thing of when you just know you're in the right place with the right people, everything flows, and it totally did in this situation. As soon as I stepped into the container with all of you beautiful women, I just thought, oh, I found my little soul tribe here. And the whole process was it was so beautiful. We're so lovingly supported by Bridget and the work that she does to ensure that we're on track, that the deadlines we need to meet, we meet them, and just being able to meet together weekly. I think that was such a key thing for me. Getting to know you all, even though I think you would have found the same. Sometimes those calls were very early in the morning for Australia, but that's okay. It was just so lovely to get to know everyone and to hear the voices and see the faces behind the chapters was really special. Such a great process.
Yeah, it is. And Bridget she's an incredible human being. I love, I first worked with her to improve my speaking. So I can't even remember how long ago it was. It was before we were both publishers. So yeah, she's a beautiful human being, and I loved working with her again. And yeah, this book is definitely a collaboration that I was drawn to as well. I was like you, sometimes things just speak to you and it's the right time and the right thing, and you've just got to be in it. Tell me, what is it that you have grown through this process, other than getting this tribe of women around you? What have you personally grown through this process?
Oh, it's been so valuable for me to step into this next version of me that's been evolving this year. Last year was a big year for me. I was having open heart surgery to replace a heart valve, which was an issue that I'd had since childhood. And so I had to step back from a lot of things last year and just be okay with that, because I'm always liking to give and do things. And so I was really forced to sit still and reflect and heal. And that was important. And so this year has been all about, all right, let's go. What are we doing? What's happening? So for me, this was just such a beautiful opportunity to step up and go to that next level and say, I have got a message. I have got stories I want to share with the world, and people do want to hear them. I mean, my beautiful husband is telling me all the time. He said, you need to get out there. You've got a voice, use it. And I've always had that, oh, who wants to hear from me? I'm not good enough stories in my head, the baggage that we carry through childhood. And I've done so much work over the last couple of years on those stories and healing that and going, you know what? I'm here, I've got a message, and I just want to help more people. So that has really come through with doing this book. It's just been wonderful. And to have that opportunity to say, I'm a best-selling author, and step into that and own it and say, yeah, I am. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. It's a great thing. And I think that we can't underestimate the power of that. Being a best-selling author actually opens more doors. More podcasters want to talk to people who actually share their stories this way. And it's being in published print is another level. Did you feel when you got notified that we'd hit bestseller, did you feel a sense of, I felt, and I still feel every time I hear it, euphoric joy? How was it for you, Lisa?
Oh, yeah, total that celebration, that feeling. And yet I also had that beautiful mix of, because manifesting what you do want, focus on what you want. I had already set that and said, we'll hit bestseller, we'll hit number one. So part of me was already, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. Yeah. but still, yeah, I think the word you've used, you've nailed it, that euphoria. It's like, yeah, the reality of that happening is just so exciting to be able to celebrate. It's so beautiful.
The way I put it is, if I could do cartwheels, I would do cartwheels every time I hit bestseller. So it's like, I've never been able to do a cartwheel. It was so funny. We went on holidays this year, and my 15-year-old said, "Mum, I learned how to do cartwheels. I can teach you." And I went, not sure that at 50 and with a bad shoulder, it's a good idea for me to actually learn now.
Yeah, probably not. I've got a little mini trampoline, you know, those rebounders. So yeah. I've been jumping on that. That's about as much as I've been able to handle.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Lisa, I talked with Mardalena Dawn about our assignment that we had with Prosperity Is. Can you share with everyone Prosperity what for you?
Oh, that's great. I have to remember my exact statement. I think it was abundance.
You can make up a new one. It's okay.
It was along these lines. I know it's pretty close. It was abundance, joy, and living a freedom life. And the living the freedom life was probably the key that I wanted to, you're 4 seconds, you're sort of trying to spit out the words. But yeah.
And tell us, expand on that then, a freedom life. What does that look like for Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. The freedom life for me is being in charge of my own destiny and my own day. Like, I set my day up the way I want to. I'm not answerable to a boss or someone else calling the shots, saying this is where you have to be at this time and this is what you have to do. My day is very much, I start with meditation, with gratitude, and set my day up the way I want. I get to wake up in my beautiful dream home, go outside, breathe the fresh air, plan my day around whether I'm going to be on the computer, whether I'm going to be out and about. And I just love that. I love that I am supported by an income that it works away for me in the background. So I get to be, do, and have the things that I want, to meet with the people that I want. And that to me is freedom. And I think Mardalena's comment too was, that time freedom is probably the biggest thing. Yes, the financial freedom is amazing because it supports you to create more amazing things in the world. But the time freedom is something that so many people have struggled with, myself too, in the past, that when you just can't control where you want to be and what you want to do. And so to have that now is really special, and that feels really abundant and really prosperous to me.
Oh, yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. That choice is really what it comes down to, isn't it? You choose where you spend your time and how you spend your time, and that's really time freedom. I love that. Over on Amazon, we've got Vicky saying that we can do mental cartwheels. They work too.
I like that. Yes. We won't get hurt that way.
Tom loves our joy that we are expressing here. So thank you, Tom. We appreciate that. Do keep the comments coming. And if you have any questions, please do ask them. And if you're on Facebook, pop one over to Amazon where you can purchase your copy of either the paperback or the Kindle. We have hit bestseller and we've hit #1 in multiple countries. It's a beautiful book and a great way for you to see that prosperity is about more than just money. And, it's not just about what you have, it's who you are and how you can live. What would be your biggest tip for somebody who is struggling right now and thinking, how do I get there? Whatever there is, how do they get there? What is your biggest tip for them?
It's kind of like that quote from When Harry Met Sally, I want what she's having. How do I? It totally comes back to starting with you, because everything that we create has to start within. The self-love, which we've already touched on earlier in the interviews today, that's where it starts. That's such a big piece, like learning to be okay with who we are and how we show up in the world, and loving yourself with your bruises, with your flaws, with everything else. I even wrote a piece last night talking about, since I've recovered from the heart surgery, how I feel about my body, because that's been a struggle for me. And I thought, I've held this back and kept it to myself because it's quite vulnerable and still quite raw for me. But I thought, no, I need to share this because that will help someone else. And, being able to own the fact that I haven't been okay with the extra weight that I've gained from being on medication and not being able to exercise and move, and that I don't like the way it looks, I don't like the way I feel, but I'm transmuting that into I love my body and then back to the gratitude that we talked about before. All the gratitude I've got for the journey I've been on, what my body's been able to do for me, how I've overcome that. I'm here, I'm alive,
Yeah.
I went through life-saving surgery and I'm here for a reason. It wasn't my time to transition yet. So there's still more for me to do. And so I think that's the key thing is we've got to start with us. We've got to start with how we love, how we feel about ourselves and reach out, get support and get help. If you're kind of going, I'm stuck, I'm not enjoying my life, I don't like where I'm at now, then it's up to you to take that step and say, I'm going to change it. I want to change it. And that was pretty much what I did. I reached out and the journey just got better and better from there.
Lisa, the comments are coming in thick and fast now. Lisa, I love how vulnerably and lovingly you share your journey. You are inspiring, Lisa. Thank you for your message. It's so powerful and inspiring.
Yeah.
It is a great story, and I'm really glad that you've shared it in this book and that you've shared a little bit more today. And we're grateful to have you here as well. And I love that you say that. Being a woman who's going through menopause, I can relate because the weight has just stuck on me. No matter what I do, no matter what I eat, no matter how much I exercise, it's just stuck there at the moment. But it will shift, and I do love my body, and I love what it's been able to do for me and how far these legs have carried me so far.
Yes.
They've taken me. So you've got to look at the positives, don't you?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. And then it will change. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. It changes, and that's okay too.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being with us, Lisa. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. If people want to reach out to you, you will pop onto the Facebook pages and let them know. And if you can get onto the Amazon live show, you can actually share over there where they can go to as well. Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Bridget. It's been such a joy. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Our next guest really inspired me. She is a woman who is, in her words, on a video that she did. Oh, I better check that we have sound for Kerri. I don't know if we have sound for Kerri. We'll keep talking about her, and if we don't, I can talk about the book as well. But Kerri is a woman who shared on a live recently that she felt like she may never get to where she was aiming to be. And being surrounded by the women who are in this book, Prosperity Codes, she actually feels like she has made it to the direction she was hoping to be in. This kind of relates to to Lisa's story. And it is something that I loved the connection, because Lisa talks about manifesting, and that's what Kerri has been doing for a number of years. I can't remember how many years, but for a number of years she's been manifesting. And I would like to welcome her to the show. We'll just see if she has sound, and if not, we will get Lisa to come back, Kerri to come back on. Kerri, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I sure can. Fantastic. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Well, now I know that you're here and I'm not stumbling over my own words, I'm just going to read a little extract from your chapter that I read. I just have to get to the right page because there it is. I lost my point, but I found it now. I'm not going to say what the experiences are, but these experiences are created by our ego to protect us unnecessarily. We are beginning to unravel our bodily self, and it protects fear that is being lost. But instead of losing our ego, we are opening ourselves to our soul. Every time our ego flares up, it gives us another opportunity to name it, recognize it, triggers, and make peace with them. Then, when we find ourselves in the thinking self, we learn to witness our thoughts and emotions around money, wealth, and prosperity. We have begun to take responsibility for what happens to us, and our soul and the universe align to support us. We commit to personal empowerment and have a growth mindset. Kerri, can you expand on that for everyone, just to put it into perspective and to, not out of context?
Yeah, absolutely. So I looked at prosperity in relation to my soul selves framework, which essentially is the stages of awakening that I experienced when I was going through my own grief journey. I like to say that my grief journey and my awakening journey paralleled each other, and these stages emerged to help me sort of figure out where I was between my ego and my soul. Because as I was learning about my ego, I realized how it was holding me back from living my full potential. And so the bodily self is essentially the first stage in these soul selves, and then it goes to the vital self, and that's when we are able to recognize that we can change, that something is different. Because when we're living in our ego, when we're rooted in our bodily self, we are often feeling like a victim a lot of the time. And that's a really typical thought that goes through our head, and a typical sort of behavior that we have, and spans across all aspects of our lives, not just in relation to money and prosperity. And so once we move into the idea that, you know, something can be different and there's a change, then we start to attract the energy of that shift that's happening, and we become more aware of what we can do and how we're behaving and what we need to do in order to start to make those changes. And then that's when we start moving into the thinking self, and we sort of feel like we can think our way out of these problems, and we become problem solvers and try and take action. But we often find that, you know, the things we're doing aren't working, and we get frustrated. And as that self-awareness continues to grow, we eventually move into what I call the observer self. And the observer self now is when we've taken a step back, and we're kind of seeing how the universe is bringing us what we're asking for, how our thoughts and our actions are all energy, and we're truly creating the reality that we're experiencing at any given time. And the observer self is such a beautiful place to be, because we're taking risks and being more vulnerable and continually learning about ourselves and growing and expanding into our soul, because our soul is really leading the way all of the time. And then the last stage, I call it, is the transcendent self. And that's when we are just fully in our soul and rejoicing all the time about where we're at and what we're doing.
I love it. It's a real process, isn't it, that somebody can go through, and it's simple. It's not difficult.
It's one of those things that happens without us even knowing about it. And the beautiful thing about the soul selves framework is that it sort of gives us this idea of where we are at any given time. It's kind of a check-in, because we start to recognize the language and the actions and the behaviors that are associated at each point. But, you know, we can move from the bodily self to the transcendent self in the blink of the eye, or we stay rooted in, you know, the vital self for years and years at a time. So we're constantly moving through these stages on our awakening, and depending on what's going on in our lives, we could be triggered by something that we, you know, weren't aware of. But if we have the skills and the tools to be able to recognize what's happening in that moment, then we can use that as a learning experience, as opposed to something that lowers our energy and brings us down into a place of struggle and victimhood again. So.
Yeah, it's really, really important that people realize that, you know, to drop into that victim mode is not helpful for moving them forward. I want to encourage everybody to jump on over to Amazon Live and grab the book so you can read Kerri's story along with the other authors. And over on Amazon, we have Lisa has joined us over on Amazon and is thanking those that are there for jumping on. And I would love to see some more comments and questions coming up over there. If you have any questions, please do ask. Tom has said, Kerri is a treasure. Kerri, your balloons that you have in the background, can you tell us about those balloons? Why are they there?
Absolutely. This is my very first book launch that I've been part of. So I'm so excited to be a published author officially, and a best-selling author at that. And so I went all out, and I went and got the 100 golden balloons, and I've been celebrating. I want to celebrate all week and just keep the energy of that celebration in my vibration, because there's so many great things that have come out of this experience.
It is true. I loved when you said you were getting that, and then that photo you had, and you had those sparkly gold pants on, and your top, and you had the jewels on. Like, it was just, I was so excited to see that, because whenever I do a book launch, I tell everybody, if you're going out to a book launch, you would dress up. So why don't you dress up on the day that your book launches and do it online? You know, take photos of yourself, go live, do things, and to add the balloons into that is just incredible. You are going to be spoken about for eternity now. When I talk about what to do on launch, Kerri's balloons are going to come up. You are glowing, Kerri, is the comment that's coming from over there. And you are, because you've got this, like I said to Lisa, this euphoric joy that comes from becoming a best-selling author. You're exuding that at the moment.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was interesting listening to Lisa, and I manifested this probably like 6 months to a year ago. I mean, I wrote it down in one of my groups, and so to actually have it come into fruition, it's kind of like, well, I knew it was going to happen, but here we are, and it's a whole other experience to feel it in reality than to just think about it, you know, in terms of how it could be. So yeah,
that's so true. It's difficult to explain the feeling, isn't it, when it's incredible that you've created this and now you're there. You talked about on a live now, to be honest, I haven't finished reading your chapter, so I'm not sure how much of this story goes into the book itself. But on a live, I heard you say that it was your child who said to you, I want to be a millionaire. And that's why you started to look into, well, how do I help him? How do I support him to make this happen? Can you tell us that story and where you are at in that process with him?
Yeah, I would love to. It was probably 5 years ago. I think my son would have been about 6 years old, and he said that he wanted to become a millionaire by the time he was 20. And as a parent, you know, you're gonna try and help them make that happen. And at the time, I really honestly didn't know how to facilitate that. But you know, I had the belief that, you know, if this is something that he wanted, then, you know, let's figure it out. And so I made this list. I probably still have it somewhere. This like brainstorm list of all the different things I could think of that, you know, would help him become a millionaire. And I said before, you know, with the exception of him becoming an NHL, you know, famous hockey player, I wasn't too sure how else to do this, but investing in the stock market seemed like one really realistic possibility. And I'd never invested before. I was always a very, very cautious investor. And my experience with anything to do with investing always was being in the bank and having to go through an investor profile questionnaire. And it always, you know, asked me what sort of risk I was willing to take. And again, I was super cautious. I never felt comfortable with the idea of losing money. If I had a sum of money and I wanted to put it into the bank, I wanted to make sure I could always take that back out. And if it meant growing really slowly, then that's where I was comfortable. I wasn't going to take any more risks like that. And, you know, the stock market is the complete opposite of that in a lot of ways, because you can take some really big risks and have really, really big returns, but you can also have, you know, big losses too. So I think, you know, the light bulb kind of went off for me, and it was this idea that my investor profile doesn't have to be my son's investor profile. Because of that, you know, the idea that he's young, and if you start young, you can really have big returns over a long period of time. And like, I don't have as many years left in my life as he does. So realizing that if he's starting now with me working on his behalf, you know, he's got so much more potential in front of him, and his investor profile could be completely different than mine. He's in a place where he can take these big risks and these big returns. And so that just like shifted the way that I was able to look at money, the way that I was able to look at investing. And so I immediately like went online and started listening to podcasts and learning how to invest, and opened a practice account. And eventually we started investing in the stock market, and it is really quite simple and beautiful. And as much as we've lost money, we've also had these big earnings that we've been able to celebrate, and it just becomes such a more playful relationship that I have with the money that we have, and the way that we can invest it, and you know, how we're going to do that more into the future. So it's been such a transformation.
Oh, that is awesome. And how old is he now?
So he's 11. He's 11, and we're not in millionaire status yet, but it definitely feels like we're building a foundation for him.
And 9 more years and you'll be there.
Yeah,
easily.
exactly.
It'll happen before then. If you're doing the stock market, it'll happen before then. Lisa says that she wrote become an author on her list of 22 things I want to manifest in 22. And now I have 2 bestsellers. And she loves your balloons too, Kerri. And then she's got lots of people are celebrating her. Vicky says, I love your investing story, Kerri. Thank you for sharing that. It is a great story. And I think that, you know, more people need to think. I always use this term of borrow somebody else's belief when you don't believe in yourself. And what you've done is you've borrowed his ability to get to a stage that you could actually get to yourself, but you're borrowing his ability to get to the stage yourself as well. So I think that that's borrowing the belief of somebody else. You can also borrow somebody else's ability until you can get there yourself, because this has shifted your mindset, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Borrow belief or borrow someone's confidence. That's another one I have used quite often, because it's just enough of a shift to be able to really embody it, you know, and sometimes that's all it takes, is just that little shift to be able to take that next step and start to see the results of that.
Yeah. Jump on over to Amazon, everyone, and grab a copy of your book. It is a profound book that will shift your mindset and allow you to see things through a different set of eyes. Through, how many of us is there? 16? I can't remember. But there's lots of stories in here that will help you shift your perspective on prosperity. I've asked the other 2 ladies, and I would like to ask you too, Kerri. Prosperity is, can you finish that statement for me?
Prosperity is a mindset of unconditional self-love.
Oh, that's perfect. And to expand on that for people so that they can really dive into that feeling of unconditional self-love.
Yeah. It is, for me, a place where I am fully connected with my higher self. So there is, in my imagination, there's this gap sometimes between how my higher self feels about me and where I am at. And when there's that difference, it feels like negative emotion. So as I close that gap, I am getting the cat on my lap.
I usually get a dog, but I've locked them outside.
It becomes this place of just overflowing love and unconditional love for self. And so when I step into it, it's so rewarding and so comforting to be able to connect and know that I am fully supported by my own self in that regard. And what else can I say? It's just such a beautiful space to be in. I like to call it my transcendent love. And the more that I can practice going there, the more that I start to see that reflected back to me in all of the areas of my life. And it starts to show up in first of all, always in social media where people are talking about self-love more, and in conversations with people. And so I know that I'm more and more aligned with it the more that I start seeing it coming back to me in all of those other areas of my life.
Yeah, it is a beautiful way to describe it. I like that. I've not heard it described like that before, and I really like that. Lisa has said that yes to borrowing belief. If they can, I can. She's over on Amazon Live TV. And Vicky has said, fully supported by my own self. She loves that statement. Thank you for sharing that, Kerri. Kerri, the work that you're doing in the world, can you just share with everybody? We did touch on it at the beginning, that process that you do, but can you just share with everybody what it is that you do in the world?
Yeah. So really right now my purpose is to align the energies of my heart and my throat and share my grief story. And by doing that, I am giving space to other survivors of traumatic loss to break their own silence. And so I am currently in the process of writing my memoir, which is called Celebrate Your Grief. And that has been such an eye-opening and soul-opening awakening experience for me. And from that emerged this soul selves framework that I'm sharing in Prosperity Codes. Yes. And I want to just keep sharing that idea and the stages of awakening with people, because I think it's such a helpful mindset tool for all of us to be able to reflect on our own awakening journey and make the steps and have the tools to be able to move forward and into the positive vibrational spaces that we want to align with.
This has popped a question into my head. 5 years ago, would you have seen yourself stepping into this work?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. No, I had no idea any of this was coming. I started writing about 5 years ago, and I really wanted to publish a book, but I didn't know that I would have the courage to be able to speak about it. I spent probably 2 decades silent about my story and my experiences, and being able to open that part of myself up and be vulnerable has been the most rewarding and satisfying experience, because I've just been able to empower myself on so many levels. And that truly is what the sort of outcome of Celebrate Your Grief is all about, is just finding that infinite source of self-love within myself and recognizing that it gives me access to this infinite potential.
I love it. And that is so, I honor you for sharing a book, Celebrate Your Grief. And it's something that, I've experienced grief in my life that changed me profoundly. And it's a journey that you can't know until you walk a path of that profound grief. And I think that it's a really powerful name that you've got in that book, and I can't wait to read it. And thank you for sharing it with the world. Kerri, is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with today?
I would like to say that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, and so challenge your beliefs often.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Kerri will leave her details in the mytimetv.live and on Bridget Holder, publisher and author. She will leave her contact details so you can get in touch with her. I do want to say, though, cats, the Egyptians believe that cats are connected to our wealth, and people who have cats actually attract more wealth to themselves than those who don't. That's a belief of the Egyptians. Vicky has said she looks forward to your memoir when it comes out, Kerri, and it's a powerful message. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And I look forward to everybody sharing their thoughts and their reviews on our book, Prosperity Codes, which was brought to us by Bridget Aileen-Cisco at Exalted Publishing House. If you would like to reach out to Bridget, we will put her contact details in there as well. Thanks, everyone, for being with us on the show today. Thanks, Kerri.